Hi everyone, welcome back to Liam's AP Psychology. My name is Liam Kim, also known as Shinso Kim from Korea International School Jeju. I'm a current junior in Korea International School Jeju and I teach AP Psychology from the NGO educational branch called IndyConnect, which I am the co-leader of. So in today's lecture, we're going to cover the contents of Unit 3, which is about sensation and perception. So in the sensation and perception unit of AP Psychology, we're talking about some basic processes of how humans think and how they perceive things, the way they perceive things, and how some forms of attention work towards forming a person's attention and a perception in perceiving a certain type of stimulus. So let's get straight ahead to the contents. So sections 3.1 and 3.2 from the Myers psychology textbook is about basic principles of sensation and perception. So some sensation and perception basic principles are: the definition of sensation is the first thing that must be covered first. So the sensation is a process by which sensory receptors and nervous systems receive and represent stimulus energies from our environment. So the receptors in your brain detect sensory stimulus and make them into nerve impulses. So for example, if you smell something really nice, if you smell a savory smell, such as like when a steak is sizzling on a grill, let's say, you can smell the steak being cooked, right? So that is a sensory stimulus that really stimulates your olfactory nerve, and then your olfactory system will start to create some nerve impulses. Now let's look at perception. Perception is the process that organizes and interprets sensory input. It gives the sensory information. So through perception, you can organize and interpret these types of sensory input, right? And then you're trying to make it into a piece of information that you can understand, and then into an information that you may use to interpret a certain situation. A bottom-up processing is one method of perceiving something. So this starts at the sensory receptors and they work up to higher levels of processing. This means that you sense things first and then start perceiving what it is. So the order here is: number 1, sense stuff. Number 2, start perceiving what you sensed. However, top-down processing is constructing perceptions from sensory input by drawing on experience and expectation. This means that you're perceiving based on your experience and expectation, because now you're perceiving even more in a really detailed sense of how you had gone through some certain situations. By drawing on experience and expectation, you perceive even before fully sensing what the new stimulus is. So bottom-up processing is strictly on what you sense. So it's normally a new thing that you encounter in your life. But then top-down processing, for example, like when you hear an ambulance siren, then from your experience, you can hear that just by hearing the noise of the siren, even though you don't see the ambulance, you may kind of perceive that, oh, maybe some kind of ambulance is passing by the street, right? You can kind of know that from experience. However, bottom-up processing is like if you're playing baseball for the first time, which is my hobby, baseball. Well, if you're playing baseball for the first time and then like you don't know what the umpire's like strike call is. Like the umpire makes a strike call whenever a batter gets striked out. So whenever you do not kind of like understand what the meaning of that umpire like shouting strike, that sound means, then you need to sense that piece of information first through your hearing system, and then start perceiving, oh, maybe that means that I'm out, or maybe I got a strike on baseball, right? So yeah, that's the difference. It differentiates based on the level of experience you have with a certain situation and how you perceive it, either through your experience or your expectation, or is it like a totally new thing that you need to learn from scratch again. Okay, so let's look at selective attention now. Selective attention is when you focus your conscious awareness on a particular stimulus This means since you're focused on that stimulus, you may not detect other stimuli. For example, the cocktail party effect is a very famous example, and this is a form of selective attention. So it's when even when you're at a very loud party, you're able to hear the person who is speaking to you because you're selectively focused on that person. So for example, let's say at a cocktail party, so the name cocktail party effect, it directly comes from, it literally means that this may happen in a cocktail party. So usually a cocktail party is very loud, right? Because it has loud music, it has lots of people. But then amidst that kind of like chaotic environment where it's very loud and very crazy and everybody's like jumping around and dancing, when somebody calls your name, such as Liam, even from a kind of a really not that far distance, but then like from quite a lengthy distance, if you hear somebody call your name like Liam, then I myself will be able to hear that person calling on me because my brain is selectively giving attention to the voice that calls my name, right? Because my brain and my psychological mindset wants to respond to the person who called on my name because my brain might perceive that maybe somebody called me for a reason that's very important, right? So through that kind of selective attention, even though the music is very loud and people are very kind of like blocking your view by dancing, you'll still be able to hear somebody calling on your name, and then you may be still able to respond to them, even though they are quite a few distance away, because your brain is blocking out the other information that is like really unneeded at the point, such as the music and people chattering and dancing. But then you're just focusing on that voice that calls your name. Another example is if you're on your cell phone while driving and being more selectively focused on the cell phone, you may miss some danger signs on the road and crash a car. So it's really important not to kind of distract yourself while driving, right? When you're talking on a cell phone, since your selective attention goes to the person that's talking to you because you need to kind of like get the conversation rolling, and then like you need to respond to your the people who is calling on you. You need to kind of make a conversation, right? It's an interactive process. Therefore, it might be really easy for you to miss some danger signs and some green light or red light signs, which may lead you to crash a car. So that was a very kind of extreme example, but then you get the point, right? Selective attention is like your brain's ability to blind out some other unneeded information at the time for you to easily focus on a more imperative condition or situation. Alright folks, so that was the end of today's lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll come back with the part 2 video of Unit 3. Thank you guys, and good luck with your AP Psychology exam. Liam out.